we really recommend that you get help with reviewing your draft application. And this doesn't have to be a one-off exercise, but we do sometimes get applications where the content of the application doesn't appear to really capture the experience and the expertise. If you like, there's a mismatch between what we can see on a CV and the types of roles and projects that people have been involved in, and the information that has been captured in the evidence sections of the application form. And to us, that suggests that the application has been completed in a little bit of a bubble. Perhaps the person's been focused on one aspect of the nuclear delta, or been very focused on a recent project and has lost sight of perhaps some of their other relevant experience. So it can be really helpful just getting someone who knows your work to review your draft application. And that might be that you organise to do that in several stages. So it can be good to identify this person or even people at an early stage as you're preparing an application. So you might get that review and ask them to look at an outline of your application, the sorts of evidence you're thinking of including, to see if they've got a different view. Perhaps they see things a little bit differently, a second set of eyes. They've seen you make different contributions to projects that you haven't recognized. So getting a review early on, getting someone to review your draft application and looking for gaps and things that you perhaps they think you should have included that you haven't, or things that could be taken out for that matter. And then ideally someone to review the final draft before it comes in. And it can all be the same person. The first on the list there is to identify a mentor, and that could possibly be also the person you've approached to be your proposer. Ideally, that person, that mentor, will have a good understanding of the membership requirements, the nuclear delta, and if you're applying for registration, would need to be familiar with the registration standards that you're essentially presenting your evidence against. So your mentor is ideally someone that you can identify. And again, engaging with your employer, talk about who in the organization might be able to help with that, can be a useful first step. Could be your line manager, it could be another manager or experienced colleague. And I would recommend that at bullet point 3, you kind of draw a line and think, can I identify someone that falls into one of those categories that would be willing to help me shape my application and review what I'm including. Other options can be to work together with other applicants, other NI members in the organisation, and fellow registrants or people who perhaps are working towards a registration. We run company membership schemes where often we engage with cohorts of people who essentially progress through the journey and the applications at the same time. And that can be quite a good sort of peer support to do that. And it doesn't have to be entirely reliant on that, but working with your colleagues, you can share ideas, what you've included, what you haven't. Can be useful doing that across disciplines. People that you're working alongside as an applicant, but perhaps in a different discipline area, giving you that view. So that's the suggestion there. And then finally, if you're struggling with this, you can't find anyone particularly that you think is appropriate or can support, then contact us and we'll again do our best to help. Maybe that we're aware of members in your organisation or in your area who would be able to help with that review process. Or as a push, we have shared applications with our membership assessors and asked them to review and provide comments. So there's always routes to help you with this, but we do really recommend that you get that review done before you submit your application.